When we think of empires, images of power, war and conquest come to mind. But what if I told you there was an emperor who ruled not with an iron fist, but a heart full of Dhamma? Welcome to my channel, and today let us find out how Ashoka built one of the largest empires in ancient history, and why he is remembered as one of the greatest emperors of all time. But before we begin, if you enjoy stories about historical tales and would like to receive updates about our new videos, make sure you click on the bell icon below. One might wonder, how can spying be linked to Dharma? So he embarked on extensive tours across his domain, covering vast distances on elephant back. These journeys weren't just for show, but were integral to his administration. He observed the needs of his people firsthand, assessing how well his policies were working. Wherever he saw injustice, he rectified it, making sure the wheels of justice moved smoothly. Once he even intervened in a case where a wealthy merchant was trying to bribe his way out of a legitimate debt. Unmoved by the man's pleas, Ashoka reminded him that no amount of wealth could justify cheating others. The answer lay in the heart of his empire, the capital city of Pataliputra. Here, people from different corners of the empire, speaking different languages and following different customs, lived together in harmony. But Ashoka took it in stride, demonstrating patience and wisdom beyond his years. He knew that true strength lay not in brute force, but in the cooperation and mutual respect among his subjects. These edicts weren't just laws, they were moral guidelines. Realizing the importance of spreading Dharma, Ashoka didn't hesitate to send his missionaries far and wide. These men and women were not just preachers, they were ambassadors of peace and understanding. They traveled across the empire and beyond, sharing the message of Dharma, engaging in interfaith dialogues and promoting tolerance and compassion. Their mission was a challenging one, but the results were nothing short of remarkable. People from various walks of life, attracted to the message of Dharma, started following its principles. This wasn't about converting people to a particular religion, but inspiring individuals to strive for a life of righteousness and peace. They spoke about treating everyone fairly, regardless of their social status or background. People from different regions, different religions and different cultures began to find common ground in the principles of Dharma. Being a good ruler isn't just about power and control, it's about compassion, understanding and service. Together, let's continue to explore the rich tapestry of history. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged and above all, stay righteous, my friends. He showed us that one person's journey of self-discovery can change not just their life. Ashoka's story is a testament to that. But the course of an empire and the lives of millions, the empire became a melting pot of cultures, not in conflict, but in harmony, united by a shared commitment to righteousness and peace. They encouraged kindness and compassion, not just towards fellow humans, but animals as well. These edicts were a constant reminder for both the rulers and the ruled, ensuring that the principles of Dharma remained at the center of their consciousness. He showed them that diversity wasn't a weakness, but a strength, a vibrant tapestry that enriched the empire, making it not just vast, but truly great. This wasn't by chance. It was the result of Ashoka's deliberate policies aimed at fostering unity and diversity. The answer lay in the core of Ashoka's rule, Dharma. You've heard me mention Dharma before, but let me explain. Dharma isn't just a concept, it's a way of life. For Ashoka, it meant promoting righteousness, peace and nonviolence. He used Dharma not as a tool of oppression, but as a guiding light for his rule. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that Pataliputra was once considered the world's first megacity? Yeah, that's right. This bustling metropolis was home to over 60,000 residents, complete with advanced infrastructure and urban planning, all around 300 BC. Talk about being ahead of its time, and ordered him to repay the debt, sending a clear message that greed and deceit would not thrive under his watch. On these trips, he was accompanied by a large entourage, including his son, Mahinda, who would later become emperor. He pushed for the construction of numerous hospitals, not just for humans, but animals as well. He achieved this not by suppressing differences, but by celebrating them. He understood that diversity was the spice of life and that different cultures, religions and customs made his empire richer, not just in terms of geography, but in terms of human experience. Instead of imposing a single culture or religion, he promoted mutual respect and understanding among all groups. He encouraged interfaith dialogues, making sure that people from different backgrounds could share their beliefs and learn from each other. This created an environment of tolerance and acceptance, where differences were not seen as divides, but as opportunities for growth and learning. He established botanical gardens where medicinal plants were grown, ensuring the availability of herbs and treatments. He also initiated the digging of numerous wells across the empire, providing clean water to those who needed it most. These initiatives weren't just about immediate relief. They were about laying the groundwork for long-term sustainability. He wanted to ensure that his people wouldn't just survive, but thrive. He envisioned a society where healthcare and basic necessities weren't privileges, but rights. Ashoka's team was constantly on the move, traveling up to 160 kilometers daily, covering a staggering 25,000 kilometers during each tour. And his daughter, Charamati, who was renowned for her beauty and intelligence. But it wasn't just a leisurely ride. They also monitored the conduct of officials, ensuring they adhered to Dharma. Talk about dedicated leadership. Well, it was quite simple, really. His spies didn't just report on rebellions or plots, surprisingly. These weren't the local officials, but many of Ashoka's relatives holding key positions. Despite their blood ties, Ashoka wasn't hesitant to reprimand them, even publicly shaming them when necessary. He believed in meritocracy and wasn't afraid to hold anyone accountable, regardless of their relationship to him. This might sound harsh, but it was this firm approach that ensured his administration stayed focused on Dharma. It kept everyone on their toes, always striving to do their best for the empire and its people. They became the eyes and ears of a benevolent emperor looking after the welfare of his people. Intrigued by their way of life, he engaged them in a conversation and expressed his desire to emulate their dedication. He encouraged his officials to follow suit, creating an atmosphere of simplicity and service throughout the empire. The ascetics, recognizing his sincerity, guided him towards a life of meditation and self-reflection. Influenced by their teachings, Ashoka began to incorporate elements of their lifestyle into his own routine. He started to simplify his needs, focusing more on spiritual growth and less on material possessions. This shift wasn't just personal. This wasn't about deprivation, but about prioritizing the needs of the empire and its people over personal luxury. It was about reminding everyone that true fulfillment came not from material wealth, but from contributing to a greater cause, a Dharma-inspired society. Last time, we saw Ashoka transform into a champion of Dhamma, spreading Buddhism beyond India's borders. But now he faces an enormous challenge. How does one manage a vast, diverse empire while upholding the principles of righteousness? In the face of this monumental task, Ashoka, though blessed with a brilliant mind, had to brainstorm, and thus began the journey of crafting an administration inspired by Dhamma. At the core of this administrative marvel was the concept of centralized authority. Ashoka understood the need for a strong central government to effectively govern such a vast empire. Thus, he meticulously maintained and refined the highly centralized Mauryan administration inherited from his forefathers. Imagine a spider at the center of a web, controlling and connecting everything around it. That's how Ashoka's administration functioned. He appointed capable officials, some of whom were even relatives, but only those who shared his vision for a Dharma-inspired empire. These officials served as the backbone of his system, relaying his edicts and ensuring smooth governance. Underpinning this structure was an extensive network of informants and spies who kept a watchful eye on every corner of the empire, reporting any signs of trouble or disloyalty. However, unlike his predecessors, Ashoka utilized this network not just for control, but also for the betterment of his people. Yet, despite this vast network, Ashoka wasn't a ruler who governed from a distance. No, he preferred to see for himself. These tours revealed many challenges. While most of his officials performed their duties diligently, some were less than enthusiastic. One day, during one of his tours, Ashoka came across a group of ascetics living a life of simplicity and self-discipline. Throughout his travels, Ashoka didn't just observe problems, he solved them. But Ashoka's concern wasn't limited to the courtrooms. He cared about every aspect of his people's lives. Despite the vastness and diversity of his empire, Ashoka managed to forge a sense of unity among his subjects. But how did he accomplish this Herculean task of keeping such a diverse empire united? And yet, for all its grandeur, the real magic of Pataliputra lay in its unity. It might seem like a lot to handle, and that's because it was. Now, you might wonder how one manages to rule over such a diverse set of people. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. One of the ways he integrated Dharma into his administration was through the edicts he inscribed on pillars and rocks across his empire. But how does one ensure that these ideals are not just read, but understood and followed? Enter the missionaries. Despite the vastness of his empire, Ashoka's efforts bore fruit. Now, as we bring this episode to a close, I want you to remember this. If you like this episode, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button.